struggling shop businesses that come to me, and they're almost always suffering from what we call catastrophic success. Everyone's always worried about catastrophic failure. We plan for that when we start a business. You plan for what am I going to do if this doesn't work. But people don't plan for what happens if I'm successful beyond my dreams and I'm not ready to handle that load. And those are the folks we see the most of. The people who, for instance, I have one client, let's call her Anna, and she came to us a couple weeks ago saying, I am overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I've lost my motivation, I barely have time to function, I'm taking care of my kid and working from home, and suddenly I have all these clients and I can't manage them, I'm losing emails, I can't get my work done, I'm not organized enough, I'm not motivated enough, I need help, I'm in crisis. And this is what they always do. People always talk about their priorities, how they don't have motivation, how they're overwhelmed and they're not organized. And after an hour of talking to them, that is never the problem, okay? The only reason they're in that position is because they are motivated, they are organized, that there's a problem that they can't see. For some reason, they get in these situations. It's the biggest issue I see female business owners having, where they get in this situation and they think it's something wrong with them, that they need self-help, they need leadership training, they need more motivation and more positive thinking. That's the problem. Well, in Anna's case, after an hour and a half of talking to her, her problem was not her priorities, her problem was not a lack of focus, her problem was her email and filing system. That's it. She'd had one client in the very beginning who was things she loved, and she told him to email me your information. She was doing it in the communications business. And that worked for the one client. And it worked okay for the second client and the third. And then suddenly she had 15 simultaneous clients. And what happened, when I looked at what she was doing, asked a few questions, is that Anna wasn't managing all of her clients. She was managing 15 separate clients instead of managing her 15 clients. Does that make sense? She'd taken a process that worked fine when she was only dealing with one, but now with 15 clients emailing her this information every day, she barely had time to open and read an email before the next one was there and the next one was there, and she couldn't be focused, and the time that she'd scheduled to play with her son and then also work, it didn't fit anymore. And then she was losing information because she had to put it into the spreadsheet, and that was the problem. All we had to do was change how her clients sent her information. I recommended one app that cost $2 for her to put on her phone that helped her sort her email better, and then we simply changed. Instead of her sending an email to her clients to remind them to email her stuff, she sent an email to her clients with a link for them to enter their information on the same spreadsheet she'd been copying everything into. And just by doing that, we figured we saved her about 40 hours a month. And suddenly this woman who was convinced she had to shut down her business, who didn't love it anymore, who hated it, who was convinced that she was a failure, loves her work again. And this is the problem I see over and over again in female business owners. Men do it too, but women do it more than men. Is when there's a problem, when their business is overwhelming, they immediately turn on themselves. And they say, there's something wrong with me. I'm not a good enough leader. I need leadership courses. I need self-help. And what you really need to do is learn more about your business. It's kind of like, since we're surrounded by cars, you're driving down the road, and suddenly your engine starts to make this chunk, 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 chunk noise. And then your power steering goes out. And then suddenly the power goes out, and you're pulled over on the side of the road, and it's not moving, and you try to turn the key, there's a sad little shoo sound, and you just know that something's wrong with your car. And, right? You know it's big, you know it's a problem, it's going to cost you a lot of money. The tow truck finally comes, they take you to the mechanic looks at it, then he walks out, and he says, yep, you got a problem there. You're going to need to change your air freshener, get a new coat of paint, and take driver's ed. Right? That doesn't make any sense. But when something's not working in our businesses, that's where women go. It's the equivalent of looking at the air freshener in the paint shop and taking driver's ed. If your car broke down, you don't need more driver's ed. Now there are cases where, yeah, if your kid grew up in the car on the way to Yellowstone, you probably want to put a new air freshener in. Yeah, put in there. A coat of paint helps keep your car from rusting. That's important. And if you got a lot of tickets, or if you can't remember the difference between a dashed line and a solid line, yes, you may need a driver's ed refresher course. But none of those explain why my car went chunka, 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 chunka and stopped working. And we do that to ourselves. Anna did it to herself. I have at least 2 clients a week who are doing that to themselves. What you really need is business education. You need to stop and look at your business and why your business isn't working, not yourself, because you wouldn't be in the situation if you weren't motivated.